discuss this now with one of the most powerful voices against the referendum and Centre of Independent Studies Director, Warren Mundine. Warren, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
At last, oh, my pleasure. At last, Warren, the Liberals have landed on the side of common sense in this debate, but there's a long way to go. What do you think the impact has been of Julian Leese's decision this week to step down from the Shadow Ministry because of his plan to campaign for the yes side of this debate?
It's made no difference to the no side. This bloke has had more positions than a person in a Twister game. He gets up one week and says all this disaster about The Voice and it's terrible and everything like that. But by the way, I'm still going to vote for it. If it's so terrible, if it's such a disaster, then why are you voting for it? Look, who cares? Julian Leese, he's gone. He's out of the cabinet. He's sitting on the backbench, and he'll probably sit there forever. And and we just move on, and we do the battle that we have to do about strangling this voice.
Yeah, he's a top bloke, but you're right. There's an intellectual inconsistency between criticising it as thoroughly and reserved.
Yeah, look, I love him all. I love Julian, Simon Birmingham, I love Bridget Archer and that. But let's be honest about this, and even Greg Craven. But let's be honest, Greg gets up and goes, "Oh, this is the worst thing that's ever could happen." Oh, by the way, I'm still going to vote for it. Where's the intellect in that? Where's the depth of thinking about that? Even Julian Leese, he said that. About the Republican stuff, about the vibe, we shouldn't be caught up in the vibe. Well, it's obviously he's caught up in this because you're right. What Dutton has put out there is the thing that's going to make life better for Indigenous people. This voice is just a wasted of hundreds of millions of dollars that could be better spent out there. And it's in the communities that we need the money to be spent. It's not going to make one iota change to people. Like even in the traditional owners today, they say that Aboriginal people haven't got a voice. Well, ask Andrew Forrest. He just got knocked back by an Aboriginal community from getting irrigation from a river in Western Australia. So there are voices out there. There's strong voices that are fighting for country and fighting for economic development and fighting for the safety of their communities. This mob, all these academics and elites and that, they're not going to do anything for Aboriginal people.
Warren, you've got a cracker of a piece in today's Australian, and in it you explain that the so-called Uluru Statement from the Heart is far from representative of Aboriginal Australians. Can you tell us your reasons for that view?
Well, what I did was I hired some Aboriginal PhD people, and they went through it piece by piece over a 3-month period, pulled it apart, looked at it, and then we sat down and looked at the outcome of all those discussions. And when you look at it, you're starting to see a huge bureaucracy, layers of bureaucracy. You're seeing, not even people being elected because they sat there and said, "Oh, we don't want to have elections. We're going to have all these community organisations which will pick their own leaders and all that type of stuff at the regional level, and then some magic thing will happen and they'll be sitting at the federal level." That cuts out about 95% of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people because they're not members of these organisations. They're looking at medical service and the legal services, etc., etc., etc. The only way, and this is where Dutton and them were right, is to make a change is through economic development. I don't know any race of people that ever got out of poverty without economic development. I don't know any race of people who are able to have a safe community, have health, education and that happening without economic development. There's none in the world that's done it. Look at the statistics in the OECD, the most healthiest countries in the world. Guess what? They're also the most wealthiest. The most educated countries in the world, well, guess what? They're the most wealthiest. The list just goes on. I believe this is a power grab by the elites because they're starting to notice that their power is being lost. because Aboriginals on the ground, native title people, land rights people have got their country back. You can't do anything on those countries about their consultation and negotiations. And also you're getting a huge business class rising now. You know, the Aboriginal business class has gone in the last 8 years from $6.2 million to $8.7 billion. 45,000 jobs have been created in that period, and over 3,000 businesses have been created in that period. So you're getting this free enterprise, self-determining group of people who are moving through. And guess what happens? As soon as the elites start to realise that their power is slipping away, they come up with this crazy idea of setting up a organisation that will be built on a bureaucratic control over Aboriginal people's lives.